music.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. That still sounds hot. Did he turn it down?
Not too bad. It's way better than it was.
I mean, it only gets so good.
Sevi, we're ready.
It's a new year. I'm a new me. It's episode 268. You're still listening to PHPUgly. And I'm still Eric Van Johnson. With me to kick off 2022 are my friends, John Congdon.
This is sounding like a dumpster fire of a show so far.
And Tom Rideout.
That is the level of optimism I expect. I'm glad to be here. I think it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be great too.
What a year though, right? 2022.
2020. I am hoping that the biggest thing I'm hoping for in 2022 is that street corner breakdancing takes off again, because I've got about 1,000 boxes of cardboard that I don't know what to do with. And I'm just hoping breakdancing just takes off. And it could be like the Bitcoins of 2020 is going to be cardboard boxes. I'll just go to corners and just pass them out.
Well, I can tell you this. My mother-in-law is mad at both of you guys.
Oh,
she
dear.
listens to the show. Hi, Sharon. And
Hi,
she's
Sharon.
mad at both. She's mad at both of you guys.
Why is that?
Last week we did a whole show and barely touched on Christmas or any other holidays. We just kind of glossed right over, pretended there was nothing
Christmas?
That is kind of weird for a bunch of atheists.
Yeah.
I'm not atheist. Don't bring me into your little cult. No.
All right, 2 atheists and an agnostic.
We completely did not do. Well, I wouldn't say completely did not do Christmas. That was actually the big surprise. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you know I've been in transition. I sold my old house, and I had a time period where I did not have. I bought a house, but the people living in the house, they were doing a rent back situation. So
they decided not to leave. They just kind of squatted.
They just stayed around. So I'd been living under a bridge, and we were supposed to get the keys to the new house on January 1st. And so we had decided, because we were in this transition period, that we weren't going to try to do Christmas. There was just too many things going on between the new house, furniture, moving people around, all that. Well, we got the keys early. We got the keys like a week early, or just before Christmas. And one of my kids and I came up to the house Christmas Eve and put up a tree and decorated the house for my wife, who came up the next day for Christmas, because she was very disappointed that we didn't have a Christmas tree. She had actually grown up as a Jehovah's Witness, and they didn't celebrate Christmas at all. She got to experience Christmas with me and my family when we started dating, and she really embraced it. So Christmas was a big deal, is a big deal to her. She likes the celebration. I can't even explain to you how many Christmas decorations we have, but we didn't have any of them available to us.
But we stuck somewhere in storage, deep in storage.
So we got,
also it wasn't technically a Christmas tree. It was a guy named Christmas Tree that Eric had met underneath one of the bridges.
And he was just holding a star on his head.
Yeah, and he just he had a star tattooed on his forehead already, which was nice, convenient. And he just stood in the living room for 3 days.
He didn't exactly smell like pine, but let's just ignore that.
Well, he spray him down with Pine Sol.
So it turned out to be a really good Christmas. We didn't have, the house was empty. It was just a tree and some decorations we had, but the wife appreciated it. And then we ended up celebrating. We did a little gift exchange New Year's Eve because by that time we got most of our stuff into the house. We actually have movers coming again tomorrow to get the last little pieces that we need to get. But
I saw the couch that you got from Gallagher's warehouse.
We talked about that last week. You probably don't remember because you were really here.
Wasted.
I was fine.
Not according to the amount of time we sucked out of that episode with the silence filter.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, that was not my fault. I was overserved.
I got something funny to tell you, John.
What's that?
I completely freaked out today. I almost called you on the emergency bat number because I had I was losing my shit. So we do the print edition of PHP Architect, and it comes like it's mailed. It's so much overkill. Like it's like this box that comes in, and there's a lot to it, but it's just like it seems like overkill for the magazine. But it's just how the print company we work with, how they ship it out. But I look forward to it. Like it's very clear when it comes to the mail what it is. It's like, the magazine's here. This is awesome. I'm sorry. I totally appreciate print. I totally appreciate the digital magazine, and I always read that. Like I almost never actually read the physical magazine, but I so much like the physical magazine, just like flipping through it and looking at it. And I'll reread the articles, but by that time I'd already, especially now, I've already read them like 4 or 5 times. But I enjoy the physical magazine very much. So when you open the mailbox, you see right away there's this box. It has a certain shape to it. It's like the magazine's here. So I go to our little mailbox today, which again is a weird thing. We'll get back to that in a second. I get the mail out. I see the box. I'm like, oh, cool! My first magazine at the new house. And I come inside. I come into my office. I rip it open, and it's a it is a flamingo coloring book. And I'm like,
what
the fuck did we do?
There's a whole return address thing on there you could have looked at first.
And I'm like looking at it, and this is how stupid my brain is. I put it back in the box, and I open it back up like it's going to change. I'm like, nope, still a flamingo coloring book.
Schrödinger's flamingo.
So I look at the address, and it's actually addressed to my wife. I'm like, what just happened? So I calmed down a little bit at that point because I'm like, wait a minute, why is it addressed to her? But my brain is stuck on the fact that we did something wrong in placing our order. And so I see my wife, I'm like, would there be any reason you have a flamingo coloring book shipped to you? She goes, oh, that came in. Great. I'm like, what? I'm not even you sure I want to know why? I'm just relieved it wasn't the magazine. I just had this picture of all these PHP developers getting flamingo coloring books mailed to them.
See, I love
that's
that.
a good
I love
idea.
that your reaction is to put it back in the box and then reopen it and see. My immediate reaction is to take a nap. Like immediately, I just, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna be different. I'm gonna go to sleep and then I'm gonna wake up and it will all have been a dream.
That's funny.
Oh, you know it's going to be even a worse dream when I tell you I haven't started Zencaster yet. Oh, there we go.
Oh my!
Clap check.
Worst dream for who?
All right, from the top.
Oh,
No,
my
just kidding.
So going back to Christmas real quick. Nothing to do really with Christmas other than my Christmas lights I put on the front of my house. I actually am proud of this year. I thought we did a good job. My wife had this vision that I executed and I thought it turned out pretty well. But December is San Diego's rainy month. Every year my breakers trip or something happens and the lights are out after a rain. I'm used to it. No big deal. Usually after a day or two, they dry out. I reset the GFCI or the circuit and everything comes on. This year I go and I do that and look real quick. All right. I reset it and I go out and I plug it back in. They pop again. Okay, whatever. I go back in. My son happens to be right there. I'm kind of in the garage. I reset the circuit and I hear this bzz, and then it stops again. And my son goes, my son goes, Daddy, there was a fire. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, he goes, literally, there was a fire. And I'm like, how big? And he's kind of trying to show me with his hands. I go out. The connection between the extension cord and the lights completely charred. Like I can't unplug it. It's there. Along the rocks, it was laying on top of some rocks, completely black, like burned. The sad part, it was like 3 inches from a tree. I am so happy that tree didn't go up. That would have been horrible. That was
man.
Needless to say, right after that, I went on Amazon and bought a bunch of these things that go around the electrical connections to make them watertight. So
yeah.
Next year, I'm hoping to have none of those issues. I couldn't believe it when he told me that.
I'm glad it was. I'm glad it turned out okay.
Me too. Scary things.
Discord. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. I shared. Matter of fact, I think I shared it in the Herd channel. So if you care to join us on Discord, it's discord.phpugly.com. If you're listening to audio podcasts, I apologize. You're not going to get this next bit. It's a little bit of a visual gag, not a gag actually. But in the Herd channel, which is a channel that is specific to people who support us on Patreon. No offense to everybody else. It's just like a nice little perk they have. I posted a picture of the mountains in my neighborhood, or the mountains you can see in my neighborhood. I'm going to add it to Discord right now so that everybody else can see it. All right. So, well, that's a problem. How do you? What am I missing here? Why won't it send? Send image. Hello, Discord. Send. There we go.
If it's like, as I say, if it's anything like mine, you have to do it from a very specific directory.
So, and I actually did that wrong. Boom. Let me do that again. This is actually the picture I posted here. And
did you type the word "send" to try and send it?
It's only sending if I have a message attached to it. So I sent this picture. I shared this picture in Discord in the Herd of these mountains. And the cool thing about it is I took that picture on my Pixel while I was driving to a Starbucks, actually. And that picture actually has traffic. It has like cars and lampposts on it that the Pixel removed. That's what the first picture was. So that's actually not the original. This is the original. Are you going to go? Oh, that time it'll go. I was amazed as I sat in line at Starbucks getting my coffee. I was amazed at the fact that I could just like draw a little line over the cars and the pixel just removed it. Like that was all on my
That's
on
an
my
amazing
phone.
feature, isn't it?
I didn't
I love
realize
that.
how good it was. It is so good.
It's scarily good.
When I was in San Diego, I literally sat down with you and showed you this on my phone. And you were like, yeah. Who cares?
We would never do that to you.
I do not recall that conversation at all. I mean, I knew it had it. I hadn't used it yet. And I just said, hey, I wish these cars weren't in this picture. And I just drew a little line over them. And then I'm like, oh, can I get rid of those lampposts? Hey, yeah, I can.
Yeah, I've been using that for my my e-cigarettes showing up in pictures.
That, man, it is just amazing what we're carrying around in our pockets nowadays.
It is. It's sort of stupid amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was super cool. Oh.
The power. Sorry, distracted.
Have you guys been following the James Webb Telescope launch?
I've been following. I haven't seen the launch. I thought it was supposed to launch last year, like Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. Yeah, I haven't followed.
So it's a 21-day period from launch to fully deployed and functioning.
Right.
So it has these large solar screens that had to deploy, and then it has. I mean, it has to like unwrap like origami over the next 21 days, and we've gotten to a good point where it's actually working correctly. They said 80% of the risky stuff is done, and it's going to be very cool.
Have you seen the Smarter Every Day video about it?
I've seen one. I don't know if I've seen the most recent one.
So his dad works, I don't know if it's for NASA, but he had access to the actual telescope and talked to the creator, and it was very interesting. They talked about what went into making it. It's been a very long journey of designing and building this thing, and went into some of the tests that they had to do in order to get it going. Thank you, Joe, for sharing the video.
See, that's why
you need to be part of a Discord. Yeah, come to Discord.
What is our Discord channel?
We've said this already, but we'll do it again. Discord.phpugly.com. I don't think Tom listens to the show.
No,
I don't. No.
So do we have any PHP stuff to talk about? I really, really want to talk about PHP stuff, and I really want to talk about PHP Architect stuff. But
I think first we should get to our sponsor.
Let's talk about our sponsor.
As always, today's sponsor is Honey Badger.
Honey Badger transforms you into a DevOps hero by combining error, uptime, and cron monitoring into a single.
We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, HookRelay.dev. HookRelay.dev allows you to create powerful webhooks without having to create all of the groundwork yourself. Sure, the basics of sending webhooks are easy, but to add more powerful features takes time and effort. That's where HookRelay.dev saves the day. Have you ever tried sending data to third parties that have strict API limits? Do you handle those failures caused by those limits properly using traditional back-off algorithms? Stop worrying about third parties with flaky servers and let HookRelay.dev continue trying to reach them for you. Resending failed webhooks, or just resending for testing, is as simple as clicking a button. You can also be the recipient of webhooks. That's right, HookRelay.dev handles both inbound and outbound webhooks. HookRelay.dev can catch the request and then send them to your servers. And best of all, reporting. Writing code to track success failures, create reports, and more is already done with HookRelay.dev. Try HookRelay.dev's free tier today. Get 3 endpoints, 14-day retention, and 100 deliveries per day. Thank you, HookRelay, for sponsoring today's episode.
Thank you, HookRelay. You heard it here first. I don't care what any other podcast tries to tell you. We were the first ones to tell you about Hook Relay, the awesome new product by the same brains, the brains behind honeybadger.io. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, I've been playing with their service now for a little bit, and it's really good. They have a few bugs that they're working out, and it's a brand new service. They're open to hearing, what you want and need from it. But
Can you explain it a little better? I mean, I'm not sure I totally understand it yet.
So sending a webhook from your service I often hit things like Salesforce, HubSpot, but also I hit just random third-party APIs. So in PhoneBurner, when you finish a call, we have it set up where you can click a button and hit somebody's webhook to tell them the status of the call, a bunch of other information. I can't tell you how many times where we eventually put it into a job, but still, when you hit somebody else's endpoint, especially small companies or small, like one-off people, they're like, oh, I have a webhook, where their endpoint takes 3, 5, 10 seconds to respond because they have an issue, or you 503. If you don't handle those cases properly, it's a pain in the butt. You you start hitting their endpoint and you get a 503 service unavailable. You have to realize that, catch that, put it back onto your job queue to run again. How often do you run it? Do you run it right away? Do you delay 10 seconds? But if you just delay 10 seconds, is it 10 seconds every time? Or do you back it off and say, I'm going to try again in 10 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then, keep delaying it because the problem's on their end. You're not able to fix it. Or when you're hitting big companies that respond really quick, like Salesforce or HubSpot, there's API limits. So you're only allowed to hit them 10 times a second. But if you're creating jobs constantly, you might be hitting those API limits. And again, you need that back off algorithm where, okay, I've hit my API limit. I need to slow down my posts. And that's where Hook Relay comes in. Instead of hitting all of these other endpoints, I can hit Hook Relay, and then they're going to do that work for me. They're going to hold on to it.
Oh, interesting.
They're going to send it. They're going to back off if they're getting error messages. You can pause it, so you can send a webhook into it and not do anything. And then when you're ready, you can release it.
I'm definitely in the market for some kind of API rate limiting stuff. So
yeah, would it help catch like API calls that run out of control and like make these astronomical bills? Is that something it could do?
Like runaway jobs that don't get ended correctly? That'd be nice.
That I don't think it'll do that per se. It's more of a it's a relay in the sense that you send it there and then they send it out and they're going to take care of making sure it gets delivered, or have reporting you've had. Yeah, there you go. They have reporting of you've had, how many successes, failures, how many are still waiting to be sent. You can retry an endpoint. And that's where I was saying in that ad clip of maybe you're just testing. Instead of having to fire another job, you go in there and you're like, I want to try this again. And you refire your webhook to see how you're responding. And they have inbound and outbound. So it turns out included in the free tier is outbound. I need to send you a webhook. Now, if I want to get a webhook from you, you have to be on a paid tier for that. But that's the same thing where instead of telling something like Stripe to hit your servers directly, you can say, hey, the endpoint is actually here at Hook Relay, and then they will try to hit your endpoint on your server. So in case you have flaky servers or you're being overwhelmed by all this traffic, you can slow it down that way.
Their plans are pretty affordable too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a free plan, but like you said, to get the both ways, you have to go at least a basic. Basic is only $30 a month, so
Yeah.
not that bad.
Sevi in Discord asked how they avoid API limits. They don't. What they do is when you hit an endpoint and they give you back an error message, you can back off hitting them again. So instead of putting it back on your queue and hitting them again right away and just doing that endlessly until you somehow get past that rate limit, I'm going to try again. And I haven't gotten that far in their documentation how you control this. But generally, you try. If it fails, you wait some amount of time, like 30 seconds or a minute, and you try again. If you fail again, you wait 1 minute and then 10 minutes. And then it's an exponential curve. So you keep waiting. You try, wait a little bit longer. Try, wait even longer. And eventually you get past that rate limit.
Yeah, Horizon has a similar functionality, but I don't really trust Horizon for a number of reasons.
Well, I mean, do you have any real practical experience with it, Tom? Oh, wait. Yeah, you do.
No, nothing I can think of today. Yesterday, but not today.
That's cool. I think Hook really got their money's worth out of advertising this week. So
Well, just on that half an hour long ad, yeah.
Yeah. It's more about the service because I've built lots of webhooks, both inbound and outbound, and I know what a pain in the ass they are, and especially all of those ancillary things like backoffs and reporting and all. And I'm really hoping they do a lot more on reporting.
Yeah, reporting is the area where it really, like, yeah, I've implemented this thing, but tracking it and reporting on every endpoint, it's nice to have that done for you.
That's where they would, once they get that built, because they've already got the basis of it, but if they built that out even more with like throughput, how many API or how many webhooks per second you're getting, it would be great.
Now, I have a question for you guys. It's a New Year's related question. We're in Q1 now. Q4 is over, and we're in Q1. And I was asked, how do we establish our metrics, our goals for Q1? We want a KPI to measure individual productivity. And right now we have epics and stories and bugs and all that stuff in our sprints, but only stories have points. You know, when you're working as a mentor for a new developer or you're working on bugs, you're not producing, measurable story points. So what do you guys do? I mean, how do you guys establish productivity and goals?
That's a hard part. We don't. That's why that's part of the reason I had that long conversation with you last week around points. Is that
don't remember
not that I want not that I want to use points per se, because in my mind currently points aren't supposed to be an individual thing to measure. It's supposed to be a team measurement goal.
Sure.
But there's still, if the team does 100 points and there's 10 people on the team and you've done 1, there's an issue, right? With that said, going back to your question about bugs, I like the idea of everything having points. Why would your bugs not have points?
So from my understanding of it, bugs are introduced by story points that we considered completed but actually weren't.
So
when we say that this thing takes 7 or 8 points and we get it done and out the door, and there's 10 bugs that relate to this thing, getting this thing out the door afterwards, we don't say that you're improving your performance by fixing these bugs. We're saying that your performance was negatively impacted because these bugs went out the door.
I get that, but if you track support tickets or bugs separately, but still give them points, that's going to slow down your non-bug burn rate or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
So
you're burned down.
So you're burned out. So you're not going to get to your actual sprint tasks because you have to deal with these bugs, but they still take time. They still take effort to accomplish. So being able to track those is important. And
it's effort, but it's not progress. Because that progress belonged to the ticket the bug came from.
But there's no such thing as bug-free software.
Oh shit. Really?
So to me, it's still something that has to be done. Somebody's going to do it. It's got to count somewhere. Like you're being productive in the sense that you are taking care of an issue that was introduced. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, I guess if you were writing,
well, and it's
100. If you had 100% test coverage from the very beginning,
even then that doesn't cover it.
No,
I mean, and the other thing is,
bugs.
Some of the bugs that my team gets to work on come from a different team, so they're not even the ones being negatively impacted by the bugs that they've produced.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That would be hard in a multi-team company.
It's really tough, and that's where it came up. It's like how do we handle this? You know, if we story point bugs, then the burn down chart goes bonkers. It goes up and down and up and down.
Well, so I guess it depends on how you prioritize bugs. So if you always have some percentage of your sprint assigned to fixing bugs, like they just become more points in the sprint. But again, it's a priority. Does this bug take priority over things in my sprint? And again, at the end of the day, those points aren't necessarily meant to track a single individual, but the team as a whole.
Sure.
And you by somebody taking time to fix a bug, they are going to affect the entire team's number of points they can accomplish.
Well, so let's say Joe Ferguson in Discord is saying pure Scrum, you remove things from the sprint to add bugs. So, like, let's say I story point bugs. How do I even assign points to bugs? Because it could be like the discovery process. Well, the discovery process on bugs, though, can be like, hey, it turns out that this is a massive oversight and malfunction, and it's, you know, we don't know that until you've been working on it for a couple hours or whatever. Or like this is a spelling typo.
Well, it depends on how you do your points. If your points are time-based, then you might have an issue there, but points should be an overall effort base. And maybe there is discovery time that needs to be involved in there.
I don't really split hairs on time versus effort, though.
I agree, but you're bringing up a point of you don't know. Hopefully, when you're doing your planning, there's an idea of what is causing the bug. Maybe not 100%, but somebody's going to say, "Oh, that's going to be easier. That's going to take us a lot of time to diagnose." Mm-hmm. So, does it go from a 1 to 2 or a 3 on a bug scale? That hopefully somebody has some sort of guide around that. And what Joe is saying is, hey, this is a 3-point task. It's going to take us time. So you have to, as a product person, you have to prioritize. Does this take more priority over all the other tasks currently in our sprint? And if so, you have to knock something out.
Maybe you two and Joe should start project management ugly.
I know you hate project management, but
just in case we wanted a terrible podcast.
This whole thing about Scrum or Agile or whatever you want. I know Scrum is a part of Agile. It does fascinate me. I am intrigued and want to do more of it.
Well, and my company uses it very heavily. Like the the reporting aspects go directly
we're gonna
to
keep talking about this. Sorry.
Yeah.
Good.
the reporting aspects of it. Carry the show, he says. Carry the show for me. I've got nothing. Please carry the show for me. Oh my God, why is he still talking?
You know what? Nothing is better than talking about project management for 30 minutes, but you go ahead. Oh, what's wrong? Does that hurt your feelings?
No, just waiting for the ringing in my ears to go down.
I don't know.
Wait. Stop. Before you, I want to address something Joe says, where he says points have to be individual based sometimes on some level, because a 5-point story for me might be 3 or an 11 for somebody else. And the way we're doing points is it shouldn't matter. It should be a matter of effort. It shouldn't matter who picks up that task. There should be some idea of what it's going to take. Of course, the person most intimately involved with that code is going to be able to do it much faster than somebody who's not. Obviously, a front-end person isn't going to pick up a back-end ticket, so there shouldn't be this huge disparity, but
sure,
it really you shouldn't do the points based on who you think is going to take the task. It should be just in general what the task involves.
I'm gonna have to.
How much effort is it going to take?
I'm gonna have to think about it. I'm definitely gonna have to let you guys know where I end up on it, because the project management stuff, as much as some people hate it, is like an integral part of the project of programming for me now. Yeah. It's like project management takes a lot of my time now.
And Eric says he hates project management, and I agree with him to a point.
But he hates everything.
But when it comes to managing people, you need to have these KPIs. And even when we've done our reviews in the past, we try to gather all this information, but it's not that measurable. Like, we have, how many PRs have you opened? How many tickets have you closed? But
I'm glad lines of code committed has not come up.
Oh shit! Delete that column quick, Eric. But you can't go just based off tickets. That's why the whole point system fascinates me. Is there is more accountability that could be had.
Yeah. Well, speaking of accountability, the people who keep us accountable, our patrons.
Man, you were just speeding through the show. You must have a hot date or something.
I was about to say, what time is it? Is it that late? That's fine.
Nice.
Yeah, I would normally look at Zencastr to see how long we've been running, but that hasn't worked a couple times now.
I have gotten really bad at that. I have to admit.
I think he just loved your little video so much he wanted to play it as quick as he could.
I do. I want to show off your videos.
Videos, yeah. I do like the new Patreon support. Patreon supporters ad.
I'm impressed with your work here.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it literally is like 2 clicks on that service we have.
I was going to say, I'm so impressed that I know it's not his work.
Yeah.
Well, it still takes effort. Yeah. See, this has got to at least be a 2-point task.
I am.
Bring it back to project management. I thought we were moving on.
I said the word effort, so I had to bring it back.
Yeah. It is.
You know what?
I will admit, excellent burn down, Eric.
Yeah, no problem. I have to admit, I didn't talk a lot about this, why it was going on, but and I really want to talk about PHP stuff, but this is not PHP stuff.
I've got some for later, so
okay, I'll try to hurry through this.
You're trying to end the show by already showing Patreon stuff. What are you talking about?
I am trying to show respect to our listeners and the people who give us money to make this train wreck of a show.
So when I was in transition and I was living under a bridge,
there it is again. You're transitioning.
John was hosting my desktop, my Linux desktop, which apparently I have to send my Linux desktop.
Did I make it dirty? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have to send it to therapy now because it's like crying at night. I don't know what's going on, but I have it again.
He plugged in all the wrong ports.
It was just touching me so much. It's all sticky. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but anyways, I've always considered myself a fairly OS agnostic person. Like, I try not to get into the OS battles of who's better, what's better. I always thought that I tried to keep my tool chain open source focused to an extent that would run on multiple platforms. And I always thought I did a pretty good job at that. I got pretty lazy with it. So I was on Mac OS for a very long time. And right before for like the last 2 or 3 years when I was using Mac OS, I found myself getting lazy and just like buying proprietary software just because it was there, it was easy, and I honestly didn't think I was ever going to move off of Mac OS, but I did. I came back to Linux System 76 machine. I love my System 76 machine. So I tried to do the whole work remote thing. We talked about a projector with JetBrains, SSHing into the box and just using Vim, all that. It kind of worked, but it really wasn't as smooth as I had hoped for. And when we were doing this, and when I was talking to John about taking my desktop, I'm like, it's no big deal. I'll just use the MacBook for a month. Is basically what it turned out to be. I didn't realize how much I like. Now, our System 76 machines are pretty hunky machines. I was very efficient on my Mac laptop before I cut over. Like, I thought I was a very efficient power user of Mac. I don't know what happened. Like, I could not stand using that laptop anymore. I couldn't stand using that OS anymore. I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, if I have to do this, I'm buying like, where is it? I found an old laptop as we're moving. I found an old laptop. I'm like, I'm putting Linux on this thing. I can't stand this anymore. Now my laptop's a little older. Maybe that's part of it, but just the interface, like what I used to really appreciate the Mac interface. I always said it was the best UI for a Linux distro or a Unix distro. And that just doesn't hold true anymore. It's like nothing makes sense to me anymore. The only thing that made sense to me, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, their copy, paste, cut commands, their keys for that are still superior to Windows or to PC. But everything else just ran so slow. I didn't have that feeling. I don't know if I've become like this hardcore Linux user now, because I don't want to be that. Like, I don't want to be one of these, my OS is better than your OS people. But my God, I felt crippled the last month trying to get anything done.
I'm the same way. I was there with you. I mean, I was a Linux user, late 90s, early 2000s. Made the switch to Mac, I want to say right around 2004. And then felt like, I'm not going back. This is the shit. That's the way it should be. And then once we switched over to these desktops, I'm in agreement. I switched to my laptop and I struggle a little bit.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Okay.
And I can't really even put my finger on what it is, but I am nowhere near as productive.
Do you think it might be the beefcake CPUs and GPUs you have in your desktops?
No, not at all.
It might be. That might factor into it.
I mean, I'm just saying, how old is that MacBook?
Like a year or two? Didn't you just leave it in the airport?
Oh my God, we're back to this. I don't know. When was the first Longhorn?
No, that must have been that must have been 3 years ago because we've been on lockdown for 2 years.
Yeah,
it was a joke. It was a joke.
It was whatever the first Longhorn was. So I mean, we kind of know that, right? No, it wasn't a joke. You're right. That's how old it is.
Yeah, we can identify the exact date that Longhorn ended.
Began because it was at the beginning of Longhorn.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was at the airport.
After flying in.
Yeah.
Luckily, there was an Apple store like right there, like walking distance from the hotel.
I have to admit,
What's the
I had never felt like I don't know why, but like you have those moments where you feel like a baller, like yeah, I can do things.
I know where this
That-
is going.
That day, it was just kind of like, yeah, I left my laptop at an airport. Let's walk over to Apple Store and buy another laptop. It felt a little baller to me because it's like. For me, leading up to that time, like for me to buy a laptop, it was like months of planning. You're like, okay, I'm gonna have to cut back on the RAM and cut back on the disk, and then I can get this in a month or two, and hopefully the price comes down. Yeah, it was like actually, John is like, yeah, no, we have an account. Just whatever the top of the line you have, just box it up. We gotta go. And he said that. He's like, whatever the top of the line you have in stock, box it up. We have to go.
You realize that's a baller moment for him, not for you.
No, it's for
there.
us. It's our company. It's a business account.
Here's my
Let's hold
card.
his hand.
Here's
Our-
my
our
card.
business-
Solve the problem.
Our business was doing well at the moment, and then
Mm-hmm.
COVID.
And then COVID, fucking COVID.
Well,
And COVID
yeah,
just won't
and
go away.
what's the CPU you have in that desktop? It's a Threadripper.
No, it's like a AMD 286, I think.
It's old. Yeah, you hear the little mice turning in there.
RTX video card.
And this is actually a problem I have, right?
I think I'm
Because
still on VGA.
my
You
initial
just have to plug it into the card. You keep
I'm
plugging it into the
I'm gonna
wrong
keep
thing.
talking. Don't worry, you guys have your own show. I'll have my own show.
We never worry. We'll talk about project management next.
My initial reaction was, you know what? I'm buying a System 76 laptop. Like, that's what I'm doing because I want to be able to do that. The issue I have, the moment I think about doing that, and again, Apple spoiled me on this, I'm very particular about the laptop. Like, I want to touch it. I want to check it out. I want to, type on
Caress
it. And you can't, right. I want to understand the form factor. I want to, is it plasticky? Does it feel too plastic? Is it, what? You can't do that with System 76 machines. You just go online and you just kind of have to guess. It's like the only person out there where you can't go to a Best Buy or you can't go to an Apple store and just kind of get a feel for the laptop, the quality of the laptop, the keyboards especially. The keyboards have gotten so important to me. And I just struggle. Like, I really would like to get a System 76 laptop, but I don't know which one I want. And I don't trust myself in what I'm reading. Like, I'm going to have to fly to Colorado, go to System 76, and they're going to be like, sir, you have to leave. Just let me touch a few more computers. I'll be out of your way.
Oh man,
no.
I'm in the same boat of like, do I bite that bullet and go with the System 76 laptop or not? Mainly because my wife's laptop is kind of on its last legs.
That helps,
Like,
right?
Yeah, like her battery won't last more than a couple hours before it dies, and I'm like,
You could just replace the battery.
No, not
Not
on
on a
Mac.
Mac.
You can't. No.
Oh, that's true. No, yeah, you're screwed.
So it's like, do I pass down my Mac and make the change or not?
Absolutely, you do. That's what you do. See, we're getting recommendations coming in.
Thanks, Sevi.
Sevi, I'm going to look that one up. I don't know if that's one of the ones I was looking at or not. I don't want I don't want the number pad on my keyboard. If that's one of the ones with the number pad on the keyboard, I don't want that.
Why would you not want that?
Really? You know why I don't? And again, yeah, see, this has number pad on the keyboard. Again, this is my weirdness. I don't know why I'm like this, but the keyboard is not centered on the screen. So the keyboard is off to the left a little bit because you have the number pad. I don't know why that bothers me. It does make sense. Well, that's good to hear because I thought that was weird.
I don't think I've ever used the laptop with a number pad. So
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, I used to back in the day with the Windows machines.
But now that you say that, it would make sense. Joe, that's why you go System 76. You don't have the driver issues. They've taken care of all that for you. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And I heard the Pop! OS update's pretty nice.
I don't know if I've noticed a difference. Have you noticed a difference, Jen?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I don't notice a difference. And I'm never like a big desktop guy. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's like if you consider the tiling, like I've become a real tiling person as well too. Like
I cannot get into it. I just can't.
It took me so long to get into it, and now I can't not have it. It's that was one of my gripes with the.
I think
Mac.
you showed me before, but you need to sit down with me again. I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos about it, and I don't know if it's just the way I'm used to, like I'll have like a third of my screen for one browser and 2/3 for another, and then my PHP Storm over here. I don't know if it's just my layout is different. I just can't get tiling to work for me.
See, you can do that with, I mean, you can change, like, it doesn't have to be a 50-50 split with tiling. But yeah.
No, I just don't think I know how to use it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Like you said, it took me a long time to get where I was appreciating it, but I'm definitely there now. Like, and I can totally see. Good?
Yeah, I'm often fine just having windows on top of other windows, like, so that I can click back and forth between them. I'll have like 2 half screens and then one in the middle. And then I click just right where I'll bring this one on top of the one in the middle. And then if I want to switch to the other, I'll click on the one that's over both of them and then click to the other one so that I can get to all 3.
So you have really precise layouts like that. That's
not necessarily precise. It's just how I'm used to working. Like,
yeah. See, what got me working with tiles, and actually still one of my gripes, was the stacking. So that I don't tile everything. I create stacks and then put things on stacks. And one of my gripes is that, I've seen people talk about this on Reddit, is they would like it for the system to remember stacks. Like, I want to have my layout, much like you said, like I have my layout. I want that to be the layout. Like if I reboot my system, I want to have my 2 stacks on the left-hand monitor and my, my one big stack in the center monitor.
There is, but I was looking at an app that did this. Something Hammer Spoon.
Hammer Spoon?
Yeah, if you look up Hammer Spoon, I think it might be OS X only, but there's
it does say OS X, yeah.
Yeah, but there's
that's not helpful for us.
Well, it's written in Lua. I think you can port it. But you can set zones up that when stuff is in that zone, it behaves differently, and it's very complicated. OS X has a lot of these tools. I'll have to pull up my old list of what I was looking at before, because I saw some stuff that was really cool.
On Mac, I use Better Snap Tool. And
yeah,
again, that's just snapping, but it did what I needed it to do.
Yeah, that's what I used too. Somebody had suggested a tiling tool on the Mac, and it was weird. I went to grab it. It's like, oh yeah, to install this tiling tool, you have to boot into safe mode and disable the security feature. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you telling me? No, that's not an option. What do you mean?
Now I would be remiss if I didn't say the M1s are so nice. They're so fast and responsive.
Yeah, but I hear that all the time, and it's true. Like every version of the Mac is so much better than the previous one, and I don't doubt it. And it wasn't only the performance, because again, we would spec out our Mac. So even though that's an older Mac, it's still pretty well spec'd out. It's not an M1, I get that. But it wasn't just that. It was just like the UI, it's so hard to put.
I also think it's also possibly just you got used to doing things on Pop! OS, where now it's a little different on the Mac, and you knew it was temporary. Where if you were a little frustrated with Pop! OS and then you switch to the Mac, you might be like, "Oh, this is a breath of fresh air," and like seeing it differently. It was more of a, I know this is temporary. I have to trudge through this change.
That's very true.
Back.
because like on the Mac, I used to have I used to use Alfred. I didn't use Spotlight. I used Alfred. But Alfred's is an example of that paid product. That's I don't think it's open source. It might be. I don't think it is. But when I used it this month, I'm like, I'm not going to. I had to upgrade my Alfred because it was so out of date. I'm like, I'm not updating. I'm just going to use Spotlight. Like, I don't need to pay for Alfred to use it for the next 3-4 weeks. So you're probably right, John. It's probably a lot of my customization and things like that. I don't know, man. It's I want to think that was part of it, but there's still something off about it. Like something that didn't feel right. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we forced ourselves to make the change to the desktop. We relearned our tool chains and things we were using. So it's going
had to
back
re-import those Vim bindings.
Yeah, it's going back to just a different set of tools. Is really what it was.
Yeah.
And
but happy
it's
to be
always a
back on my
pain.
System 76.
Yeah.
All right, you said you had some PHP stuff. Oh,
yes,
I'm
as
sorry, John.
promised. So this has been a long time in process, in work. Operator override or operator overloading for PHP is now in the voting stage, and it is a lengthy, well thought out, hard worked PR with all of the use cases and gotchas handled and all of the special exceptions needed, backwards compatibility stuff, and it's just not going to pass.
You don't
think he's going to pass?
Right now, it's at 50-50 with 40 or with 39 votes in. It's 19-20.
19 yes, 20 no.
Yeah. And this is one of those 2/3 required votes.
Right. It has to be a majority. It can't. It's not just a majority.
A super majority.
Super majority, yeah.
And Nikita said no. So.
Well,
he doesn't fucking matter anymore, does he?
He does.
God damn it.
He still matters. Stop it.
That was harsh.
You caught me off guard.
I just listened to the PHP Internals podcast.
Wait. Is Joe Ferguson a voting member? I did not know that.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Wow, Joe, I had no clue. I learn something new every day.
What's his voting name?
He Supernova.
Joe first.
He voted yes. Nikita voted no.
What's his username for the voting purposes?
Supernova.
It's not on here.
What are you talking about? It's not on there. It's SVP.
Oh, there it is.
Or PER. Sorry, Joe.
I followed the conversation around this very, very in depth, and the argument.
Wait! Before you say anything, how would you vote? Yes or no?
I would vote yes.
Okay, now you can talk.
The arguments for it are well thought out, compared to implementation in other languages, give use cases for spreadsheet libraries, and the implementation limits itself so it doesn't go haywire and start creating chaos in the environments that you have. The arguments against it are like, oh my God, that's so scary.
So can you explain?
Well, there's a lot of talk of it being abused. And for the record, I would vote yes just because Ben Ramsey voted no.
So is this operator overloading?
Ben Ramsey voted yes.
I would vote no because he voted yes.
Okay.
So is this operator overloading in the sense that if I inherit a class, I can change the type of parameter that I'm getting, or is it having two of the same function with different parameter lists? Or am I just completely off base here?
So
keeping in mind, I haven't read this at all.
It introduces the operator keyword and allows for the use of symbols instead of method names. So you can have a symbol represent a full function call. there's shorthands in there for hiding that symbol or how you reference that symbol, but you can make a plus symbol into a function. So plus and then open parentheses and then have the functionality in there. And the reason that gets useful is because you can start making references to call user function where you have stuff like spreadsheets that have defined functions behind their behaviors, where you allow the user to type in a plus, but you interpret it as being a plus in parentheses. And it gave you the ability to to be more flexible on your function naming methodology.
And that was actually I posted in the show notes, and it's in Discord as well. He was interviewed on the PHP Internals podcast this last episode. That was I believe that's one of the use cases he used, like mathematical equations where you do instead of doing what was the one he said, like instead of doing the math inside the parentheses and outside, this would allow you to code it so that it does outside in like in these special cases. It definitely sounded like something like one of the big concerns was abuse of this, but it also sounded like it's really not something for the mainstream developer to worry about. Like it's not something every developer, it has a use case for it that it's kind of targeted for. I strongly suggest, if you're interested in this, to not listen to us because we don't know what the hell we're talking about. Listen to episode 96 of the PHP Internals podcast, and they go through this whole thing. I'm looking through the transcript now to see if I can find that example he was talking about.
In general, don't listen to us.
Yeah, I strongly. If you are to listen to us now when we say don't listen to us. I strongly advise against that.
Wait,
but Eric,
sure
I want you to.
He's trying to say listen to us.
It's very recursive. I don't know anymore what I'm saying.
Eric, I want you to look at how thorough this RFC is, and tell me that you really feel bad about not being a release manager. When this RFC that is like
but the
30
release
pages
manager has nothing to do with back
sure, no,
fast or not.
This RFC is 30 pages long, has examples of use in all the other languages, and has the functional PR that would be included in 8.2 if it was accepted. And it's just got a bunch of people being like, nah, we don't need this. It just comes down to like, nah, thumbs down. I don't like it. Like,
well, it's interesting because they even bring up the fact that like it seems like a lot of people vote no because they're really voting no to change. Like they don't want the language to change.
Well,
they don't care
part
what
of
it is.
That's not PHP specific. That's voting in general. There have been huge number of research efforts into how people vote, and people vote no as a default. And then yes, if it's something that they like specifically. But if it doesn't apply to them, they'll vote no on it just because it doesn't apply to them. And this goes across all forms of voting. If you're voting for tax increases on your housing, renters will vote no because they don't want more taxes. You know, everyone will vote no as a default, except for the people who look at where the tax money is going and say that benefits me. Then they'll vote yes on it. But voting is a bad way of doing things, but it's the only way we have. I say we gerrymander the PHP voting system. So the more Twitter followers a person has, the more their vote.
The more important their vote.
Right. You're voting with your Twitter followers.
No, I think Ben's got way too many Twitter followers. We can't have that.
Yeah, and we also drop the irrational hatred votes.
I love it. What else you got? You got anything else PHP related?
Not, I got something open source related. That is
good with open source.
real weird.
Okay.
And if you want to hear about that, you're gonna have to listen to the after show portion of the podcast. Because right now I'm going to talk about Norton 360.
That was the weirdest transition ever.
I realized
What happened?
I realized the context of the topic, the Faker.js library being erased.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get into why it got erased. And I don't want that on the actual recorded podcast.
Well, you realize this is recorded even after the show, and it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Indefinitely?
Don't want it on the audio podcast. It's a super deep rabbit hole that gets into weird stuff.
Okay.
So I will instead end with,
so if you're listening to the audio podcast right now, go to youtube.com/PHPUgly and listen to the show there.
This is why you want to watch live.
Like and subscribe, watch live, see what horrible things I do to derail the show.
You think we're
go back
bad
to
now?
267.
Wait after the show.
Go back to 267 after the show.
No.
And 266 and 265.
Nah.
There's been a couple of really good after the show moments we've had.
Don't get me started on Elon.
Norton
360. Lay it. Go ahead.
Norton 360 got into a weird situation where they updated their terms of service and included a cryptocurrency miner in their antivirus software.
I was going to say, this is still the antivirus people, right?
This is the antivirus software, yes.
Stop it. No.
It is an Ethereum-based cryptocurrency miner that runs in the background while your computer is idle and gives a 15% service fee for the use of your computer to Norton 360.
What?
I shit you not. It's...
Does anybody still do Windows people still use antivirus? I thought Windows had antivirus built into it now.
No, this stuff comes with bundled systems like Dell computers and that kind of stuff.
I thought Microsoft had its own antivirus built into it.
So for a long time, Microsoft's antivirus didn't work correctly. And part of their antivirus software is hooks for third-party antivirus to hook into to be the official provider for this computer. So their antivirus was really just a linked library for antivirus programs to get into and say, here's how I access files I would normally have to have admin access to read and stuff like that. But antivirus is still huge business. I mean, very big.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently not big enough because Norton now wants to use your computer to mine Ethereum.
I can't believe they would do that. As big as they are, or at least as big as I thought they were.
I can't believe they'll get away with it. That's my take on the whole thing.
I can't believe more people don't see the significance of crypto when you have companies like this willing to do this sort of practice. It's like, this is crypto. People have got to get on board with crypto. I mean, it's going to be the world currency. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But so they made it part of their terms of service where everybody just clicks I accept or I agree. Or fine by me.
That's not entirely clear yet. So the first thing is that it'll only run on computers that pass a capability test. So it's supposedly opt-in, but that could mean fucking anything. I mean, that could mean a hidden checkbox that you have to scroll down on a window that doesn't have a scroll bar. Which is, that's something that actually Google is getting sued for this week as well.
What?
But the quote here is, if users have turned on Norton Crypto but no longer wish to use this feature, it can be disabled by temporarily shutting off tamper protection and deleting encrypt.exe from the computer. So once it gets enabled, turning it off is a temporary solution until you delete the file from your system. But then when you reboot, if that file's still there, it turns itself right back on.
Which, as a Windows user, you do like 5 times a day, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're charging a 15% fee for the crypto mining that they do, and it goes into a wallet that is accessible from the Norton website when you log into Norton's website, which is a thing I'm sure everyone does daily.
So if they mine $1, they get 85 cents. I get 15 cents.
Other way around.
But I have to.
I mine $1. First off, this is my hardware, and the wear and tear is on my hardware.
Okay, so they are giving you the lion's share.
They're giving you the 85 cents per dollar.
Okay, that's better than I would expect. I thought they were taking a majority and saying, "Oh, here's you had to do nothing, so here's 15% for doing nothing."
But the wallet is on their system.
Mm-hmm.
They hold the keys. Now they say only you get the keys, but in order to access it, you have to log into their system, and you don't know your keys until you go into settings. So they hold your keys, which means that they hold the entire equity of everyone's collected crypto mining value until you take it out. So they get 100% up front, but when you ask for it to be paid out, then they have to give you your 85 cents. But they're holding on to all the liquid value in your wallet and doing whatever they want with it in that time. So it's crazy. If you know who Cory Doctorow is, he writes for a number of security and modern tech things, and he just came out and said, like, this is absolutely bizarre. The job of the antivirus is to block subversive crypto mining software, not install their own. This is crypto hijacking from software that's supposed to catch crypto hijackers.
That is hilarious.
And it is bonkers. I mean, it's totally insane. But they have a site. They have a frequently asked questions on Norton Crypto. What is Norton Crypto? And what are the system requirements? You need an NVIDIA card with 6 gigabytes of memory. It is bizarre. And if you have ever spun up an Ethereum miner, even set to like low settings, your system starts smoking. It just starts putting out heat.
Oh, really?
That's the whole point of it. The whole point of it is to turn your cents per hour in electricity fees into heat and money. I warm up my room in winter by running crypto mining. It's such a bizarre turn. And I think they're totally gonna get away with it. Yeah. Here's Cory Doctorow's exact tweet here. This is fucking wild. Norton antivirus now sneakily installs crypto mining software on your computer and then skims a commission.
I'm still shocked that they're giving you 85%.
I mean, like I said, they're not really giving you 85% if they don't tell you that this thing is running.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have the ability to get 85%.
Yeah, it's so weird. So that's my doom and gloom for everyone today.
That was a good doom and gloom.
Way to wrap up the show.
Right.
I
I haven't been doing my duty on reporting doom and gloom because you guys don't like it as much as our listeners fucking love it.
They do. They love it.
They
I
love the
I
pink and
don't
blue.
mind it. I should take that back. I don't mind it. It's just there are tendencies to like, this is fucking horrible, and it just goes on and on and on. It's like, hey, let's like this whole show. It's like, let's talk about PHP. You know, we had our little section of PHP.
Sometimes
So
it's a little slow in PHP.
I know, it's rough.
We talked about
And
project management.
We didn't talk about
doesn't
PHP
help that
Architect.
it doesn't help that we record every week. I know PHP Architect, right there, baby, right there.
Yeah, we're at the point where we cover
I am
RFPs that don't
curious.
pass.
I'm curious. If you listen to the show, you can DM me privately. You don't have to do it in any of the chat channels, although I'm willing
Don't do
to
that.
reply.
That gets you on a list
channels.
immediately.
But I'm curious, if you listen to the show and you do not subscribe to PHP Architect, why is that? Is it a cost issue? Is it a value issue? You don't see the value in it? Is it just curious? I'm not trying to guilt you into it. It's fine. You know, we're just trying to understand what it is
We want to
people
learn
are
about
looking
our
for.
audience.
Yeah. So if you don't subscribe to PHP Arch, let me know why, and that'll be it. We'll just stop talking to each other and never be friends again. But whatever. I mean, you'll get your point across.
We should have a listener survey,
We should. Yeah.
but not this week. We're
Off
done for
topic.
this. We're done for this week.
What, Sevi in Discord? What are you asking? Would you guys be willing to add an off-topic section for music? Oh, for music. Oh, just to talk about music? Yeah, I can definitely do that for you. I'll do that for you. No problem. I like that idea. I'll do it right after the show.
Have you guys been doing Wordle?
What?
What? Sorry.
Wordle,
What? Can you speak
If-
English, por favor?
a game that like has taken over the internet in the last week.
Still English, please.
All right, I will be posting my Wordle scores in the off-topic
Their
gaming channel.
scores.
Yes.
How do you spell Wordle? Is that
Oh, WORDLE. If you ever played the board game Mastermind, it is exactly like that, but with words.
Mastermind with the bombs that you had to figure out where they were at?
With the pegs that are different colors, and you have
that's
to figure out.
Minesweep you're talking
Oh,
about.
Minesweep. That's right.
Yeah.
Ah,
Mastermind
I
is
wanna
the
play
different colored
Minesweep.
pegs. You have to figure out the order they're in before you get to the end of the board.
Oh.
That sounds like
play
Minesweep.
No. Anyways, Wordle is taking over the internet. You have to guess the word. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chances to guess the word of the day. If you get a letter right, it shows up in yellow. If you get a letter right and in the correct position, it shows up as green. So you really have to-
I completely stopped caring about this
Yeah,
this
I know,
conversation.
I know.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, it works. Are we
But
done?
you can
was-
share- you
I
can
was
share
really
your
just-
scores.
I was really just talking to Joe Ferguson at this point, but I will be posting my Wordle scores in the gaming channel.
There's a gaming
Okay.
channel.
Yes.
Episode 268. Welcome to 2022 is in the books. I'm Eric.
That was a weird sentence. I'm John.
You're a
I'm
weird
Tom.
person. Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all
You
know
just
how we
asked about
do.
it.
Listen, I'ma drop a
Pictures of
freestyle you
rebels
can
should be
cherish.
after the show.
I'ma send a shout out
After
to
the
the
show,
host
John.
named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host name Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from
Frank,
Thomas.
you're not allowed to us.
Can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Sorry.
Ready for this?
Sorry, Frank. We got you thinking.
We
Ready
really
for
got
the Faker.js story?
stop
Only
sharing
if you
your
stop the
screen.
feedback first. Thank you.
You can
We
stop
really got to do
sending
something about our VPN. It's
I
driving
told
me
you
nuts.
to create another VPN. We'll create another VPN. I don't know if I should check to see if mine. Well, I shouldn't check why the show's going. It wasn't working for me.
Oh, John just checked his.
He sure did.
Anyways,
Are you gonna wait for him for the faker stuff?
no, I'll get into that. So, Faker.js is a large, not a large, a popular JS library included in all sorts of stuff, and and the user or the creator just dipped out, deleted the repo, sent his message as what really happened to Aaron Schwartz, and gave not much explanation beyond that.
The Reddit guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That was a while ago. That wasn't recent.
Yes.
Okay.
So the recent development in this is
Did I disappear on you guys?
you did.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, don't turn your VPN off in the middle of things happening.
That's what we figured happened. So for people who need Faker.js, there is a community. If you look up Faker.js community, there's a fork of it that you can reference. But I dug in and found his Twitter account, and first off, is if you look at his Git log contributions over the last year, there is some weird behavior.
Huh? What do you mean weird behavior?
Oop, that is Slack. He's basically working quite a bit until May and then just stopped. Like, just flat out stopped. There, I saw some references to maybe that he had become homeless and that's why he was no longer contributing, stuff like that. But here's where we get into the sort of tinfoil hat area. It was revealed during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, who is the woman who helped Jeffrey Epstein sex traffic people, that she was a super mod on Reddit. A super mod or a super moderator is a high-level moderator for hundreds of subreddits.
Okay.
It's very uncommon, and it means that you have a significant amount of influence in Reddit in general. And all of a sudden, the theory started coming out that she was a supermod while Aaron Swartz was still with Reddit, and that he had uncovered not just her sex trafficking, but the behavior of lots of people who were internal to Reddit. You want to paste a longer URL there?
I just typed that in there, man. Holy crap, dude. I got a carbon.sh, man. They got a carbon.now.sh. Need to shorten their URLs. Holy smokes.
So Aaron Swartz was known for basically getting hounded by the FBI to the point where he eventually killed himself. And the big conspiracy theory now is that, well, he had uncovered a number of sex trafficking rings being run through Reddit, his own site, and was working on exposing all of these people. And the rich people who were behind it smokescreened him to the FBI, got the FBI to hound him, and then eventually killed him, making it look like a suicide.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's the final message from Faker.js, which is
I still don't understand how that why he removed his package and stopped contributing because of that.
yeah.
That doesn't answer it.
No, but it doesn't answer why he did this. But the thing, when you get involved in conspiracy theory stuff, it becomes a cultish religion.
Oh, really? No, I haven't seen that in this country for the last year.
Yeah. So your behavior is not necessarily logical, and he was not making any money off of this library that was being used by a lot of big companies. So he figured potentially he had a big platform to make a statement, which he did by deleting his library and pasting the title of a video called "What Happened to Aaron Swartz?" What really happened to Aaron Swartz, which is on his Twitter. You can see his direct links to this video and his commentary on the whole thing. He got an audience for this video that it wouldn't normally have had, which is everybody who uses Faker.js, which is everybody who uses Node.
Guess I don't have to worry about that because I don't use Node.
Yeah, every 2 months or so, I catch myself saying, "Thank God I don't use Node," because like something catastrophic happens to Node every couple months.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see why I didn't want it on like the recorded version.
No, I don't see why.
No, I don't actually.
Conspiracy theory stuff and sex trafficking, if it gets flagged on our account, could get flagged as adult content for it. And
You're
that would
still
stop.
already on the stream. What are you talking
On
about?
YouTube. I don't care if YouTube flags this as mature content, but if Apple Podcasts flags this as mature content, everyone who's
It
got
should
it
already be because of the way we
but-
curse like sailors and
but it's not.
whatever.
They listen for keywords.
I'm not worried about it.
They listen for keywords, and if I say sex trafficking on the podcast, guaranteed that gets a hit on one of their keyword filters. So that appears to be what happened, is that the guy was down on his luck and wanted to make a statement and had a huge platform to do so, so he did.
See, that's why I don't use open source and I pay for everything. I don't have to worry about people taking their package away.
Don't think that's true.
No, that's not true, but
I ended up on one of your old websites this week, John.
my old websites?
Yeah. Bowlingball.com.
How'd you end up there?
There was a picture on Reddit, on the movie details subreddit, showing the rings that were on the Jesus's hand in Big Lebowski.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a 300 ring and an 800 ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to look up, like, what those were. and I pulled up, Google immediately hits like bowlingball.com. Here's a video explainer about it. And it wasn't a video of you, but it was a video where I definitely said, I recognize this video quality and that background. And then I realized where I was.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it's sad that like I love those guys and they're still we still do work for them, but their site hasn't changed since I left.
No, sir.
I know. Yeah, that's true.
It's like, guys, it's time to get to like.
Well, it's like not even a layout issue. It's just the graphics are just like a touch dated, which for bowling ball is on point. It for like the screens that show you like you got a strike are a touch dated.
But I know, but it's I left over 10 years ago, or right at 10 years ago now. And it hasn't changed since.
Yeah. You see, if you see the site, there's that bar that says warehouse clearance items. Do you see that?
You gotta maybe go to bowlingball.com.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's the most traffic they've had all day.
No, they're a big site.
I know. Just kidding. But like they've got rounded boxes in a rounded box.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And and like the margins are wrong on the boxes in the boxes. I mean, it's funny enough. It functions really nicely. It's just
say it's actually pretty responsive.
Yeah,
for
it's totally
all the information they're putting up there.
It's responsive, and there's no like broken layout elements.
Mm-hmm.
But like what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Amazon's page 15 years ago.
Funny, I was thinking the exact same thing. It looks like the old Amazon.
Yeah, before Amazon had the hamburger and everything was under the one hamburger, it was like this, where you had your categories as tabs on the top and the hover to specify. I mean, this is a really classic style for a lot of independent stores. But
that why bowlingball.com is number one. It's that's 15 years old. It was that way the day I left. So fun.
And the font is not it's not a clear type font anymore. It's got hard like aliased edges on everything.
All right. That was a fun walk down memory lane.
Oh, they don't have their link to their MySpace though. That's what's missing.
Oh, the perfect scale. I remember coming up with that.
You should call them up and say, "Hey, I heard this podcast the other day. They were talking about your website." And just mute out the parts where you talk. It's like maybe you guys are interested in the redesign.
There's
Tom,
right there.
Oh, I wanted to. I should have done it on the show. I am so close to buying a Tesla. It's not even funny. I don't want to buy a Tesla. I honestly don't.
I do.
I want the Ford F-150. That's what I want. But you can't order them. There's no getting those.
Honda closed down their engine development department. Did you hear about that?
No.
Just as part of being a car company, they had an engineering department dedicated to engine performance and stuff like that. They've completely closed down that department now, and they're focusing entirely on electric vehicle motor engineering and capacity. I would wait, man. I mean, like, they hold their value, so it's not a huge loss. But if you order it now, you're still not going to get it for 6 months.
You can't even order it now. That's the thing. I understand.
No, the Tesla.
Oh no, I could get a Tesla today. Like you can buy. Yeah, don't shake your head. No,
you can pay for it, but delivery is not for months.
Please let me finish a fucking sentence, will you?
I
I can walk into CarMax today and drive off with a Tesla.
Oh, a used Tesla?
I mean, like 2,000 miles from last year used, sure, but yeah, used.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, I didn't share my CarMax story.
Oh, that's right, you did it.
Will I feel better about myself at the end of it?
Yes, you will.
Excellent.
No, you won't. Eric, what are you talking about?
let Eric finish talking about Tesla, and then I'll tell you my story.
No, I don't personally want a Tesla. I don't
actually, while you do this, I'm going to take
Tesla.
my kid. I'll be right back.
That's what I heard.
Fit in a Tesla.
I was talking to a buddy about getting the Model 3, the Model S, or whatever the cheap model is, and he's like, "Yeah, you won't fit in it." It's like if I don't fit in it, you're not going to fit in it either.
Yeah. And the thing that bothers me about the Ford, first thing, I want a truck. I want a pickup truck. I really do want a pickup truck. The problem that bothers me with the Ford is that it's a version 1. Like, I really don't want to have their V1 truck, but
they have a
cheap. Wait another 2 years.
The cheap model is only like $32,000, right?
I think it starts at like 45 or 50.
What's that new electric?
Oh, you know what? You might be right. The cheap model. I want the extended battery. I think the cheapest extended battery was like 50,000.
Oh wow! CES just happened, so there's like 20 new electric trucks out right now.
Yeah, Chevy has one.
Did you see the BMW?
No.
The black and white paint job?
No.
Oh my!
I don't care for BMWs.
That's not what it's about.
It's a.
I almost put this in my. It's in Discord.
Oh, is this the one where the paint changes colors?
Yeah, from white to black, but it has like you can do patterns and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't appeal to me.
Oh, it's so cool.
Why is it cool? Like,
because
what is the use of that?
It doesn't have to have a use to be cool. Let me look at all of the things that you have funded on Kickstarter and ask you what the purpose of it was.
I mean, sure, you can do that. It's fine. I mean, it's what it is. I'm not that thrilled with it. I think I'm surprised it's taken us this long to get here. I thought for sure we would have this by now, but the new Broncos look nice. I did look at those, but they're not EVs. The Mustangs are very slick. Now they are EVs and they are available. I can order those today, but it's still not a pickup. I really want a pickup.
What's that new car company that everyone Rivian? Rivian got it everywhere. They got evaluated for like billions of dollars and don't have a vehicle yet, like a production vehicle.
Oh, that's not what I'm seeing. Then I'm seeing some new car on the road that I have never seen before. Some weird logo.
Genesis.
I don't know what it is. That is one of the things about being in Southern California. You see like a lot of unique cars. It feels like you see cars here first. Like I remember seeing the Teslas years before they started being sold. Like, was Tesla based in San Diego at some point or something?
No.
Oh, I remember seeing the Tesla, the Roadsters all over the place for a while. I remember thinking to myself, there can't be this many rich people in San Diego who can afford this car. How are all these cars here?
Well, it's not like that here. You come here, you see one car, you see the Jeep. Everybody has a Jeep.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's obnoxious. Although I have to say, my Infinity is finally like running well. I'm very happy with it.
Should have gone to CarMax. No, you shouldn't have. Wait, yes, you should have.
So what happened to CarMax?
Nothing happened at CarMax.
Hey,
It was
hey,
John.
whoa. Don't slow down. Let me tell the story. I bought a car at CarMax. I walked out. I knew I put money down on the car. I knew what my final how much I financed. I knew what my payment should be. A couple days ago, I log into my bank account and I'm like, oh, they've already got my loan. Like, I know. I look at them like, it seems weird. The price seems awfully high. The payment seems high, but I set up auto pay, and a few minutes later, I'm like, wait, that's way wrong. So I go and I dig out my paperwork from CarMax, and sure enough, what was showing in my bank was like $12,000 higher than what it should have been. I'm like,
All right.
what is? And then I happen to look. I'm like, wait, I bought an Ascent, and this is a Sonata, like completely different make, year, model. Everything is wrong. I'm like, CarMax screwed up and somehow sent somebody else's paperwork with my information to Wells Fargo. But it's like 9-10 o'clock at night at this point. So I wait till the next day and I call CarMax. I'm like, something happened here. I don't know what. And they start looking into it and they come back to me. I mean, I'm on the phone with them for a while and they're like, all the information in our system is correct. You need to contact Wells Fargo to see what's going on. I'm like, no, I didn't. Wells Fargo doesn't work directly with the public. I bought from you. You use Wells Fargo for financing this thing. I need you to fix this. Well, let me look some more. Put me on hold again. They try a bunch more stuff. Come back to me. Sorry, there's nothing we can do. Everything's right. You need to contact Wells Fargo. I'm like, fine. But I know they're going to just tell me to come back to you and I'm going to get this, you need to contact them and they're going to tell me I need to contact you, but whatever, I'll try. I contact Wells Fargo, same rat race. They have information that I bought this car or I have a contract, but they can't. I'm like, you have a signature showing that I bought this car? And they're like, well, we don't have that. Everything's electronic. We don't have access to that detail. I'm like, well, something's wrong here. And somewhere in there, I think that person asked me if I had checked my credit report. I kind of ignored it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call CarMax because I bought from them. They have to fix this. Don't worry about it. I felt bad dealing with them. I call CarMax back, talking to somebody else, explain the situation to them. And they're like, sir, everything is right on our end. There's nothing we can do. You need to go to the place you bought it from, talk to them, see what happened. I'm like, no, the local shop's not going to help me. They're going to tell me to contact the finance department. You're the finance department. You need to fix this. And she, again, getting the back and forth. I'm like, listen, I'm within my 30 days. I'm ready to just turn this thing back in. I'm done with it. She's like, well, sir, if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. I'm like, seriously, that's how you're going to talk to me?
Totally called him on his bluff. I was like, yeah, no, bring him in.
I'm like, seriously, I'm like, no, I've only dealt with you. You need to fix this. And she's holding her ground. There's nothing I can do. I'm like, let me talk to a manager. Meanwhile, this whole time, I'm trying to look into my credit report and everything. I couldn't get into Equifax. Something happened. Like, they asked me questions back to 2017.
Please
that I couldn't
tell me
answer.
you logged into somebody else's Equifax.
No. So then I logged into one of the other ones. I can't even remember the name of it. I'm on hold waiting for a supervisor for like 10 minutes. Finally get one of my credit reports up. Fuck me. The same day I bought my car, I co-signed for my nephew. It was his car showing up in my bank account that I never expected to see. I am a complete asshole. I ruined 3 people's day over this, and it was completely my fault.
I was wondering recently when I was at Walmart why they had a card section just for I'm sorry I harassed you when it was my fault. But now I get it. The problem is I was on an endless hold for a supervisor that I probably never would have talked to, so I just hung up versus staying on to apologize. Yeah.
I'm such an
asshole. Get the one that has the woman pulling her hair out and it says, Sorry, I was such a Karen. And on the inside it says, but can you please delete the YouTube video?
I'm such a jerk. But I do have a question for you guys on a
Fire
completely
away.
different topic, and it's not PHP related, so it's not for the show, I guess. I bought some Christmas lights, some spheres. I wanted some different sizes for my tree. The company contacts me and says, "Oh, we're sold out of this size." I'm like, crap. I'm like, all right, just make it up in the bigger one. You know, you don't have the 7.5 inch. Give me whatever 10-inch you have for what I paid and just ship it. They went out of their way. I think I ordered 8 total. And because of the price difference, I should have only gotten a few. They just sent me 8 of the big spheres. They're like, here, we just sent you 8. I'm like, wow, that's amazing customer service. They went above and beyond, giving me more than I paid for. He screwed up. He placed a new order for the 10 so I'd get them, canceled my first order, so I paid nothing for them. Do you contact them and say, hey, you screwed up, or do you keep them for free?
I contact them.
I mean, no, you wouldn't, Thomas. You're so full of shit.
100%. Absolutely.
I contacted him.
I make sure I contact the guy who screwed up, though, not like his boss.
Yeah.
Like
I did.
yeah.
I replied to the person that was writing to me. I responded and said, hey, I think there's a mistake here. I really appreciate, you making up the difference. You went above and beyond. You did right by me.
Yeah.
I was like, now, if you meant this to be a Christmas gift, I completely accept. But if not, go and charge my car back for my original price.
What'd they do?
He thanked me profusely. He's like, thank you so much. Do I have permission to charge your card? I'm like, yeah, you can charge me the original price.
You probably saved that guy's job, man.
This has happened to me a couple times, and every time when I report it, they say it was a mistake on our end. Keep it as a gift and just leave a positive review.
Nope. See, I didn't get that. I got, thank you so much. Can I charge your card?
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about good customer service, can I give you guys a story?
Sure.
Hold on. Let me drain the tank.
Didn't you just do that when we stopped recording like 5 minutes ago?
Don't you have a bottle by your desk? What are you, some sort of animal?
You can tell me. He doesn't need to hear it.
Yeah, I don't think he'll care that much. If you're still hanging out with us on YouTube and you ever have a need for like junk haul away or movers, or I guess they do like task around the house. If you have a College Hunks franchise, give them a call. That's who I used. So the whole thing started with garbage removal, and I have this thing. It's a good practice, but it takes time. It's something that I carried over from other jobs. I like to get 3 quotes. I always get 3 quotes because that's how I do things. So when I was doing a garbage removal, I called three places I was interested in. One was a big name garbage removal place. I think it's called Got Junk or something like that. Yeah, another was I'm sure it was just a guy who had a trailer. He's like, yeah, well, I work construction during the week, but I can swing by on the weekend and see what I can fit in my truck. It's like, nope, that's okay. And the third was this College Hunks, who I had never heard of. My wife had come across them, and I hired them. And they were so good, so professional. And I found out that they did moving. And as these guys would tell you, I had physically moved us out of our house, and it about killed me. My knee is still blown out from it. And both these guys were saying, what the hell are you doing? Hire movers. So the College Hunks did moving as well. But they're franchises, right? They're local franchises. So I'm like, hey, I'm moving up to Menifee. They're like, yeah, that's fine. As long as you're in California, we will move you there because you originated here in San Diego in our district. We can move you wherever you need to go. So they moved me. they did a fantastic job. I was so pleased with how well they worked, how fast they worked, how efficient they were. They're reasonably priced. You basically pay them per hour, and then there's like a charge for the truck. Like the truck was like $200 or whatever, and you're just paying these people per hour. So you know how much you're paying. It's not like these shady movers or anything like that. So I'm like, man, I wish you guys had a college hunk up here, because I still have some moving to do, and I would, love to continue to use your brand. And they're like, well, call the owner, and if he says it's okay, we'll come back up here. Now, keep in mind, I live an hour away from where I started. So they were in San Diego. They moved me an hour north. They're saying they will come out here and help me move. So the owner actually calls me. No, I call the owner. That's right. I call the owner. I'm like, hey, this is going to sound silly, but you got my business twice because of how professional you guys are, how good your customer service was. I need another unit emptied up here in Menifee. The guy said they would be interested. He's like, I know exactly who you are. The guys came back to the shop, couldn't stop talking about how nice you were, how funny you were, how great it was to work with you. If you need them up there, they've all volunteered to come back up there. I'm like, fantastic. Volunteered? But no, yeah. So those same guys, college hunks, it's a franchise. So I don't know if they're all this good. Those same guys from down in San Diego are coming up here tomorrow to empty out a storage unit I have here in Menifee. And then I have some heavy furniture in my pod unit that, again, I blew out my knee and I'm having a lot of trouble moving around. And, it's too heavy for my wife or anybody to do. So they're going to move that as well. They're coming up here, driving it out. Now I'm paying for that, obviously, but still, I tell you what, good customer service, when you find it, you give them that loyalty, man.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for me tonight. I'm going to end the recording.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. Woo! Happy 2023.